This model appears to be a model of a cluster of a couple of homes, if not more, with their inner courtyards. And remember, when you look inside these, there are buildings for residences. This may be a barn where produce is stored. This may be the living quarters. It's all a complete farming complex, if you will. This is a photo of the Shanxi marketplace, where my hostel's entrance is on the far side of that building to the left. It sounds from reading the documents here that the intent is honorable and responsible. We can only hope that that does not get overridden by commercial interest. This is apparently a layout of the theater within. The outside of the main temple at the back. Normal linear construction, of course, or design, I should say. Here apparently is a rough model of what the temple looks like, or the theater, or whatever is contained there. Although it doesn't seem to be what I've seen, so it may just be a model of a home with an elaborate entrance. This room contains what appears to be a pretty elaborate and pretty well-developed set of conceptual maps and placards, if you will, describing the structures of the town that are important and the town itself and the various subsections of it that perhaps have different levels of protection, etc., etc. But it looks like a well-developed plan. I hope they can pull it off for their benefit and for the benefit of future tourists who travel here. A couple of birds. Notice the intricate three-dimensional carving, though. The rooster. I'm betting that these are horse gods, probably related, of course, to the tea trail that used to be here. This looks like an impressively carved incense offering pit, if you will. Here are good size wooden pillars that are available, at least then, in the mountains. I saw a truckload the other day of logs like this, but cut in lengths of about, it looked like 10 feet, and very neatly stacked, so they were prized. This has either been preserved by being oiled or varnished, but difficult to see the detail. And here's the third courtyard in the inner design. These carvings similar, if not the same, as the ones in the earlier temple. These certainly look like restorations. I want to get a closer look at that roof detail. Don't know whether these are recent or restored bases. Notice the one back behind it is plain. One of the entertainment traditions of China has been its puppet theaters. This is an example of a puppet theater booth, transportable, as you can see by the two rectangular iron devices there that would have held a 2x4 equivalent on either side to carry it with. And then for whatever the window's for on the left and right side, I don't know, but I think this probably would have been either the stage and the curtain or where the man sat. But that's an interesting. Up in the small village on the opposite side of the valley from yesterday, people are less open here. The old people, particularly really old, sometimes won't even notice me. The woman would not acknowledge me. The man smiled and was pleasant enough. But I wouldn't be a bit surprised that there's a little bit of the foreign devils concept left in these folks' memory from the past. I rode my bike up to this little village below us where you can hear a dog barking, and then pushed it up quite a ways and locked it down in the trees there. Not that anybody here would take it. Two men that I met, one carrying a crutch and using it. Of course we couldn't communicate, but eventually I pointed the crutch and asking him in essence why the crutch, and he went across his thigh with a cut mark with his hand to indicate, I suspect, that it had been removed below the thigh. And then I started pushing up the hill and the other man went ahead of me. Then I noticed that his right leg was acting strangely, and I suspect that it was removed somewhere around the knee. Because it was buckling as he walked. So now what I'm doing is just hiking up above this village for the fun of it. It's interesting to see that this lady's task is to, in essence, plow or turn the soil, and that tears. Every day they have, like farmers often do, at least in this part of the world, something to do. I don't think that farmers in our area do. Because of mechanization, there are substantial periods of time when they have very little to do. So my goal is just to hike up into the mountain till I burn myself out, and I've had enough fun, and then return to the hostel. Today, at the suggestion of Elisha, the Israeli doctor, I decided to check kayak.com and see if I could book a ticket to Hong Kong, and sure enough it worked very easily. So I've stepped into the 21st century and can now avoid the trauma of racing around trying to find somebody to book a ticket for me at a fee. Here's some of the use of plastic sheeting. Cover the bed where the corn seed is planted, no doubt in this colder climate, to heat it up more so with the sun, in the sun, help the seed germinate more quickly. Now these chili may be the less deadly ones, the small ones being the really wicked ones. I might just pick one and carry it with me and try it when I'm near some water. Here are men carrying heavy individual rocks out of the riverbed up to wherever they're going to go, instead of even using a burro for that. Here the soil is this chalky brownish white color, and I'm not sure what this crop is, unless it's a form of sugar cane, but I don't think so. Apparently these are apple trees, based on the fact that there are apples lying on the ground. For some reason they just weren't worth picking by these folks. They've all just fallen down. Cows have free range to roam through here, cows and bulls. Here, the whole unit made out of stone with a new inner piece, which may suggest that someone's been added. Notice the yin-yang sign above it. Some of the people who are, if not interred here, memorialized here, must have stood where I'm standing and anticipated their own death. I anticipate mine on occasion. Not a surprise. This one, the center stone is gone. Nothing much inside. Big hole underneath it. The horse, of course, for the tea trade. Here perhaps the phoenix and some kind of animal. There appear to be the remains of some incense sticks, but also cigarette butts, so one wonders to what degree reverence is paid this. These appear to be just completely abandoned, which is strange. Wish I knew the dates.